us tell a story. It's time for Comics Kids!
Hey guys and gals, and welcome back. It's Mr. Craig here from the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Green Bay. And I'm also from the virtual Boys and Girls Club, as well as Boys and Girls Club Creates. It's a lot of Boys and Girls Clubs, right? Yes, it is. Now, today we're here to learn the next step in how we're going to make our comic page. Don't you dare skip this step. If you skip this step, I'm coming to your house and I'm going to steal your birthday, and I'm not going to kid about that. This is important. It's crucial. When you're making your comic page, this part is important. It's about making a plan. Yes, it's that simple, but it's that important. You don't build a house without making a plan for the house, without making a blueprint for your house. Otherwise, it's going to look crooked in one spot or off in another spot. It's going to look weird. It's not going to hold together as well as it could. It'll fall apart in no time. We don't want our comic pages to do that, so we want to put a little bit of time into making our plan. So follow along with me as I take my story and break it down onto a separate sheet of paper as a plan, as my sloppy copy. So now that I've got my story, I want to start thinking about how I'm going to lay that out. Now, on a final comic page, take a look at this. This is a blank comic page, and it's even got measurements on the page, if you can kind of see that, measurements and marks that are kind of standard in the comics industry, and it's a little thicker. Some of the pages, some of the paper that you get, you want to experiment with. This one here works really good sometimes and not so good some other times. Depends on what materials you're going to be using. So I know that my format's going to be about that big, and this is about the size of standard comic pages when you're doing the art. Obviously it's shrunk down when you print the comics because comics are much smaller, but that's cool because anytime you take your artwork and go whoop, shrink it down, it looks even more amazing than what it started with. But I'm going to kind of make a layout here of what my comic page will look like. And with the 6 panels that I have, I'm going to go with basically a 6-panel layout. But I could kind of change that if I needed to. So this is 1, 2, let's see here. I'm going to try and split this into thirds. So here we've got, if I wanted to make each of the panels or each of the pages about the same size, I'd make it look like this. You can kind of see that from above. But if I wanted to, I could make one panel bigger or thinner. And in fact, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what? I'm going to change my format today. I wasn't even thinking about that. But again, the story was spontaneous. The story just happened right now. And the layout's going to change right away. Why not? Because I want my first panel and my last panel to be long and thin. So I'm going to make them thinner and smaller. So they're going to be about that big. And the last panel is going to be about that big. But now my middle panels, my middle 4, are going to be squares. Just like that. So this is a different format for me to try, but why not? Let's give it a shot. And now up here, I know that I want to have Baghead going fishing. So I'm going to try to make this is my sloppy copy. And I've talked to you guys numerous times about making your plans. Planning is so crucial as an artist. And it's a pain in the butt. I know, it's hard. It's a pain. It's something that is like, it's like work. But the more you do with the planning, the stronger and sharper your characters are going to be when you're finished. So I'm going to kind of lay out, and I'm doing it kind of dark here, but Baghead's going to just kind of be walking, and he's going to have in his hand a fishing pole. Fishing pole is going to come behind him, and again, his legs are up. He's just walking down the trail, and here is going, let's have a little walking hill, make some backgrounds. And then here's going to be a fishing pond. And there'll be a little dock here. And there'll be some water. And there'll be maybe some trees here. Filling up the space. And again, I'm just kind of doing it loosely. I'm going to obviously do a much better job once I have it figured out. And it'll be much neater and more attractive when it's figured out, when it's finished. But for right now, I'm just getting my ideas done. So here is Baghead going to the fishing hole. So this is panel number 1, and it correlates with our story. Where did it go? Our story right here. Number 1, every day Baghead goes fishing. So this is my first panel, every day. And then I want to think about, too, where am I going to put in my word boxes, my information boxes? And well, I've got plenty of room right through here. I've got so much room that I've got a great bubble space right here for Baghead to say something cool. And you can always add to your story. That's the great part, is that maybe it's going to say up here, every day Baghead would go fishing. And now here he could say something like, I am so happy to be standing next to the old pond again, or whatever I want to. And I also have room now here in his hand to put like a little lunchbox. Remember how in his story he's going to be giving his food away? Maybe he's got a lunchbox with him right there. Perfect. So you think about all these details as you're going, because you want to tell as much information with your picture as you can for the next panel. Now, so here is the next panel is Tommy Smoking Brain shows up. So let's figure out a way here where Baghead could be kind of in the foreground. And he's got his fishing pole up, and the fish is in the line is in the water. And again, this is just planning part, and I'm going to have his knees up. He's sitting on a dock. And here's the edge of the water. And over here is a new guy coming up. I got to take a look at the picture because I only saw him one time. And it's Tommy Smoking Brains. And I might change that name because that's just a weird name. But Tommy comes up and he's like, hey, what you doing? And that's really all that has to happen in this panel. But here's Baghead in the foreground, fishing, almost probably half asleep as he's fishing. And in the background, here's Tommy Smoking Brains coming in. And there's room for a bubble. Hey, what you doing? Now, do I have to put in there until Tommy Smoking Brains showed up? No, I don't have to do that at all. And if I wanted to, I might not even name him. That's kind of where we're at right now. Now, Baghead decided to share his sandwiches. So now let's put them both sitting on the dock. And we're going to put Tommy Smoking Brains on the one side here so that he can kind of say his name right away. And Baghead will be next to him. Oh, we got to leave some space for his chimney stack head to come out. And then Baghead will be sitting here, and Baghead will have a sandwich in his hand. Gosh, I'm being sloppy, but that's what this is all about. This is all about sloppiness and getting the idea down so that when you do it for real and you do it for, you've got your plan figured out, it's going to look much, much nicer as it's all finished. And there he's on the dock, and Baghead here is going to say, have some sandwich. Have some sandwich. And I can also take notes on the side of my panel too. I can leave that there. It'll give me exactly what I need on the side, and his eyes are there. And again, I'm probably putting in more detail than I need to right now because I'm just figuring out the rough layout of this. It's my sloppy copy. Sloppy copy. It's my planning sheet. Now here we are on panel number 3. So he's shared his sandwiches. Number 4, now he's hungry all day. So we might, what would be the best way to show that picture? Do I want to show that in a close-up like this? Close-up, big time? Or do I want to show it with a little bit of a wider shot like that? I'm not sure. So he was hungry all day. So now I might want to use a thought bubble because now I can show Baghead. Maybe now we're going to change the camera angle. So now Baghead is sitting here and he's maybe a little worried. He's watching Tommy eat a sandwich. People eat sandwiches with 2 hands. So let's give him a sandwich with 2 hands. And smoke coming through. Now, and the funny thing is, too, is that the character of Tommy Smokin' Brains, totally a throwaway character. I was going to just not do anything with him. It was just my example character. But now I'm all of a sudden can put him into a story, and a crazy, silly, dumb idea that had no reason to become a good story can become an interesting story. So now here's poor Baghead sitting here watching his sandwich get eaten up, and I'm going to have eaten up, and I'm going to have a thought bubble here. And I can do this in 2 ways. One is like Baghead will be saying, "But I'm still so hungry. But now I'm still hungry." Okay, so now he's still hungry. And I could also put, if I show a little bit more of the picture, so this might be some planning for later on, is maybe I want to show some more picture and show a little grumble noise by his tummy. So I can go grumble, grumble down by his tummy, and now it's signifying that he's hungry. He's starving. But now here is our last panel, and we've got to figure out another way to show how Tommy and Baghead are having an ice cream together. So we want to, let's see here. That could probably be a wide shot where they're both looking at each other. And again, we want to vary up our shots. Think about your comic page like it's a little movie. And as you're making this little movie, you want to try to get as many different and interesting camera angles as you can. Can you tell a story with just one camera angle? Absolutely, you can. And it has been done wonderfully interestingly, especially if you want to show the timing, the time has passed. You show a house in one picture, then the next picture shows the same house, but now it's 30 years older and it's a little more overgrown. And now here's another picture of the same house, and it's 70 years later, and now the windows are all broken out and the roof is caved in, but it's the same house. It's the same angle, but now we definitely see a passage of time, which is really kind of cool. All right, so here we are. Now Tommy's going to give him an ice cream cone. So I'm going to have Tommy, I'm going to show him in profile, and we've got his hat in the back, and it's going to be giving him an ice cream cone. See him by the side, and we're going to see Baghead here kind of by the side, maybe one eye, and Baghead's hand is going to be up and reaching. And again, this is going to be much better when we get to the real thing. And let's see, Tommy's hand is going to be down holding an ice cream for himself. And Baghead's going to be saying, "Yay for me," with a question mark. Yay for me. And I can also maybe try to figure out a way I could put a Baghead or a bubble for Tommy that says, "Thank you, new best friend," or something cutesy like that. And now we're at the last one. So now Baghead will take extra sandwiches to the fishing hole. I could go with that, but I don't know if I want to have it be I can change my story right now too. And you can change your story if you come up with a better way that you want to tell it. You are the artist, you are the writer, you are the creator, so you can do all these things. There aren't really a lot of rules other than make it cool and make it fun. And so now I want to have Baghead in this big wide shot again. Maybe going back to what we see here as they're both sitting on the dock enjoying their ice cream. Wouldn't that be a great way to end the story? And now I've got a kind of a funny idea that I'm thinking around too. And here's his smoke is going off of his head, and they both have their ice creams in their hand, and they're licking them. Although I don't know how Baghead would lick his ice cream with a bag on his head. That's funny in itself. Poor Baghead. So yeah, here they are on the dock, and they're next to the water, and the fishing line is out here. I could do something where I have some fish here on the side, and they are holding an ice cream cone too. That would be kind of funny and weird. That don't look like no fish right now. It sure doesn't. You're right. But I can change it to look like a fish a little bit later, hopefully. And let's see here. We've got trees on that side to fill in the space. There's some beautiful and amazing cartoonists that have done some amazing work with comics and things like that. I'm going to kind of wrap this up. I wanted to talk to you guys about Joe Kubert. Take a look at my shirt. It's Sergeant Rock. Joe Kubert was an artist about the same time that Nick Cardy was, and they both worked at the same comics company, DC Comics, and other companies as well. But Joe Kubert was born in 1926 and he died in 2012. So again, I would be really surprised if these two guys didn't know each other. But Joe Kubert was really noted for doing Sergeant Rock. He was a war veteran as well. So he did a lot of war stories, and Sergeant Rock being one of the biggest ones that were out there. Marvel Comics had their character Sergeant Fury, who became Nick Fury in the future, but DC Comics had Sergeant Rock. That was their guy. He also did Hawkman and Thor and the Viking Prince, but one of the cool things that Joe Kubert did is he also had a school for aspiring artists called the Kubert School of Cartooning. And there was a number of great creators that came out of that school. I even got a chance to take a bunch of online classes that I did during the pandemic. So I learned quite a bit, even though Joe was not part of those classes. So thank you guys. My name is Mr. Craig. I'm with the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Green Bay, as well as the virtual Boys and Girls Club and Boys and Girls Club Creates. Next time we're going to start penciling. So get your pencils sharpened, and we're going to start. It's get your seatbelts on, because it's going to be flying from here on out. So we'll see you soon with your sharpened pencils and your sharpened minds and your sharpened paper. Ow! Oh! Have a great day, and we'll see you soon. I didn't cut my finger, really.